What the hell? How come nobody told me that No Nut November was over? And it only ended 4 months ago? Shit. Well, there's only one thing to do. We gotta play some Peach Ball.
What is Peach Ball, you may ask? Well, it's one of the entries in the long-running Senran Kagura series. The series is built on reused assets and a budget of shoestring. Of course, the series' claim to fame is actually the ending of world hunger and the creation of a renewable energy source that we can use to power the Earth for the next 100,000 years. No, I'm just fucking with you. It's actually anime titties. And this game certainly doesn't shy away from letting you know that, which is great because every time I play a pinball game, I think to myself, man, this sure is fun, but where are the tits? Finally, a pinball game for the modern man. But while boobs are great, how does this game stack up as a pinball game? Spoiler alert, not very well. Like a good country, a pinball game needs a good economy. Not for things like a market, mind you. I'm talking about points here. Having a good point economy in a pinball game just means everything is given an appropriate score value. Everything you do in the game needs to give you an appropriate amount of points, which in most other genres, I wouldn't even care about the points. This isn't the Atari 2600 after all. But getting a high score is kind of the big idea with pinball, so it is important. You want to manage your point economy more like the US dollar pre-1973 and less like post-World War Germany. If something is easy to do, it should be given a very cheap value. If something is 10 times as hard, it should be given a greater than 10 times value in order to incentivize doing it. A lot of pinball games that are designed for longer play will also have longer term goals, like beating all of the bosses in Kirby's Pinball Land, and these types of things should give you the appropriate amount of points. If you've ever lit up the center on the 3D Space Cadet board, you deserve a medal, and $1 million, and a supermodel wife. And with that in mind, let's see how Senran Kagura manages its point economy. 250 points for hitting a bumper. Cool. 6,000 points for hitting a tanuki. Alright, sure, it's a little bit harder. 50,853,000 points for completing a sexy challenge. What in the ever-living fuck? The inflation here is worse than Venezuela. Among other things. Who would care about any other part of the game when this is worth so much? Sexy challenges aren't even an uncommon occurrence either. You just have to complete goals on the side of the screen to get them, which is terrible game design. Unless you memorize the symbols, you're gonna have to read the goals while trying to play pinball, which is just annoying. It's like trying to read a book while driving. You can pause the game, but that just completely ruins the pace. It's baffling game design. But what exactly is a sexy challenge? Sexy challenges consist of several different minigames that take place on a separate board. You get 2 balls in 30 seconds, which may hit a bit too close to home for some people. Ironically, these challenges are neither sexy nor challenging, unless you think slamming your balls into an ice cream cart is sexy. As for the challenge, there is no challenge. If you drop your balls, they immediately get brought back, which basically just means you're going to spam the flippers for 30 seconds with no consequence and no risk of losing. Most of these don't require you to aim either, so this is the optimal way to play. But are you sick of doing the sexy challenges? Well, I've got good news. You don't actually need to do anything. It's true. You just need to initiate the challenge to get through the stage in story mode. But that's it. You don't even need to get any points. Just wait the 30 seconds and you're good. This gives you plenty of time to do other things. Check your phone, make a nice cup of coffee, or spend some time looking for a better game to play. All before you have to get back to this one. Now, super sexy challenges are even worse. The hardest part of these challenges are dealing with the shame and fear that someone might walk in on you while playing this. Here, you hit the girl on their squishy bits, but they take up the entire side of a board. It feels like pissing into a swimming pool. It's pretty hard to miss. There is somehow less challenge than regular sexy challenges, and it's also the easiest way to get points in the game. Just keep slapping those flippers and you get 100,000 points per hit. Personally, I think it's very interesting to make the best way to get points in the game also be the easiest. It's bold. Very bold. If I was an art critic high off my own farts, I might say this game is an avant-garde expression of women's oppression in a patriarchal society. Good thing I'm not, so I'll just call it shit instead. There is one more part to the super sexy challenge, but in this part, with some very easy and generous timing, you can get 1,000,000 points for hitting the girl with the flippers. And you know what? I kinda like big numbers. There's a part of my lizard brain that goes, ooh, big number, good. But this game is just too much. When you can fairly easily reach the 100 millions, who even cares anymore? It makes my fucking lizard brain overheat. And you know what? I've spent all this time complaining about high scores, but who the hell even cares? This is Senran Kagura Peach Ball. What are you gonna do? Show all your friends? Compete with the family? Why don't you teach your grandma how to play? I'm sure she'll have a grand old time slapping the Senran Kagura girls around with her big flippers trying to beat your high score. Fun for the whole family. Well, maybe you can just keep your high scores to look at, but they made it a pain to even enter your name. You can't use any on-screen keyboard, so you have to press up or down to select your letters, which is standard for arcade games, but it doesn't even save your name for every time, even though, as we have established, no one but your lonely self is going to be playing this. So if I wanted to enter my name as Lord Joe, the most fair and kingly in all the land, I'd have to type that in every time, and you know what? I don't have that kind of time, so all my scores belong to Now, score would be one thing if the game was at least fun in general. I could forgive a bad scoring system if the game was fun on its own, but it's not. For some reason, they decided to make the ball have really soft feedback, so it feels like it's bouncing off stuff like a cotton ball rather than pinball. I guess they didn't want you to feel too bad for hitting the girls, but it just makes the game feel bad to play. And I kinda still feel bad for the girls anyway. I mean, for one, they have to be in this shitty game, but also look at poor Asuka over here, just laying on the board in despair, trying desperately to protect her breast implants from exploding. It's pitiful. There are only 2 boards, and they're both very similar and equally dull. Well, 3 boards if you take me into account. And the visual design of the boards is odd, too. If you took the girl in the picture off the board, it just kind of looks like some pinball game for kids. They could have at least made the board creative and sexy instead of some generic baby's first pinball game. I mean, elephants and rubber ducks? Like, come the fuck on. The flippers could have been like sexy bunny girl legs or something. These bumpers could have been bras, and the ball could have been my ball sack. The game is just so unengaging, even the story doesn't help. Yes, there's a story, and it's just as bad as the rest of the game. Every chapter is the same shit. Oh no, Can of Beans Kun has been turned into a fox. I have to play pinball with him to save him. Now multiply that by 25 and you have now experienced every chapter of this game's 5 scenarios. Utter shit.
So at the end of the day, I think I've said everything there is to say about this game. And you know what? I really have to say, this is the greatest lewd pinball game I've ever played. It doesn't have much competition, but that is a true statement. It's also the worst. In general, it's pretty bad. Don't play it. Just don't play it. There's so many other things. Just go watch porn. Don't play this. Go watch porn and then go play some pinball. Don't play this game. Remember to like and subscribe. There'll be more dick jokes in the next episode.